Thank you. Taoiseach, I welcome this process. It's refreshing to see. I think the topics selected are important. I think getting the horrific gender bias out of our constitution is important. And I look forward to being able to vote on it and debate it in the Chamber. I particularly welcome in your opening speech your openness to this potentially being a first step, and to being open to members of your own party, members of the opposition, coming back with some of the issues raised by Deputy Adams, Deputy Martin, others, I'm sure, within your own party in terms of real radical reform, things that we could do to really shake the system up in terms of it serving the people of Ireland better. So I welcome this. I think in terms of the process, there are three things I heard that I like. The inclusion of Northern Ireland delegates, I think, is very important. I think Deputy Adams makes some very good points in terms of making it even more inclusive, but it's good that there is at least some recognition there. I like the statistical process used to make sure that different communities are represented, different parts of the country are represented. And I like the openness and the transparency, things like the live webcast and your call to have more people involved, I think will be very important. With the few minutes I have, I'd like to address some issues with the process, which I would love to see tackled and improved, if not for this one, certainly for the others. There's three things in particular, and they're to do with the makeup of the convention, the membership, the funding of the convention, and in real terms, the powerlessness of the convention. In your speech, Taoiseach, you mentioned that you want it to be, or the principles are independence, innovation, and influential. And I appreciate that this is a genuine effort to do that. I think we could go further towards achieving those principles. And I'll just talk to the three of them briefly. In terms of the makeup of the convention, I think a mistake has been made in including politicians in this. It might be an odd thing for a politician to be standing up and saying, I appreciate that politicians are able to bring a view as to how the system works today that nobody else can bring. And I think that is a very valuable thing to be able to bring. However, best practice internationally does not include elected representatives in constitutional conventions. Two of the best recognised speakers in the world on this are Archon Fung from the Kennedy School, who I had the privilege to study under, and Ken Carthy from the University of British Columbia. In their work in this and their experience in this, they acknowledge that the presence of partisan influence can lead to distorted deliberation and outcomes. Archon Fung says that in deliberative democracy, and I quote, powerful participants may seek to improperly and unreasonably exclude issues that threaten their interests from the scope of deliberation. In other words, you could have a bunch of politicians there who see changes being suggested which threaten their incumbency, which threaten their funding, which threaten their jobs. And they may move, and the academics have seen this happen in other places, may move to have those topics sidelined. In terms of the funding of the convention, I appreciate as well as anyone in this House that we are on an extremely cash-poor environment. However, when the Netherlands did this, they spent €6 million on it. And when Canadian British Columbia did it, they spent €6 million Canadian dollars on this. Now, we're putting in €300,000. That's 1/20th of what the Dutch put in. My concern is that there isn't going to be sufficient funding and sufficient time for the people within the convention to absorb the kind of expert knowledge that they're going to need to tackle the constitutional issues. The third issue is the powerlessness of the convention. It is one thing I am concerned about, is that the government will only take these things as recommendations. If you compare the experiences of the Netherlands and British Columbia, in British Columbia, the people got to vote. The convention decided what there was going to be a referendum on. In the Netherlands, they didn't. The Netherlands used a process quite similar to this. In the Netherlands, most of the issues raised and agreed by the convention never made it through their government and their parliament, and it was seen as a failure, largely for this reason. So, to finish up, I would just state, look, there are many issues that need to be addressed. Things like single-seat constituencies, things like moving from 166 to 100 TDs, or whatever it is, very, very substantial stuff, to radically change a system that the people of Ireland do not feel is working for them. So I welcome this as a first step. I think there are major opportunities to make it more effective and to better meet the principles which you have set out for it. Thank you.